Hello everyone. In today's history and civics class, we are going to learn chapter number 1, the First War of Independence, the uprising of 1857, which is also termed as Mutiny of Sepoy. It is called as Mutiny of Sepoys because it began with the mutiny of the Sepoy, means the soldiers were ill-treated, they got angry at the Britishers and they wanted to take their country back. So this way, the British historian called it as Mutiny of Sepoys, and our Indian historians termed it as the First War of Independence. Actually, it wasn't the first war of independence. It wasn't the first revolt. There were around 40 revolts from 1763 to 1857. Though the Britishers had come to India on 24th August 1608 just with the intention of trading, but they established their first company after 6 years and the second company in Madras. So this way, when they started dealing with us, they understood that India is very rich, so they wanted to take full advantage. And we know that India was not the only country who was being subjugated by the Britishers. Even America, the 13 colonies of America were also subjugated by the Britishers. So from 1763 to 1857, there were around 40 revolts across the country. Bengal, West Bengal, Bihar, Delhi, Karnataka, Bombay, Gujarat, Vellore, Kerala, and many more places like that. And by 1857, the English had become already the masters of our whole country, whether it is economic, politics, administration, military, everything was under their control. And the rulers or the prince or the states which were not under the control of Britishers, they followed many policies to extend its empire. So the injustice shown by the Britishers created discontentment among the Indians, leading to the national struggle for freedom. Now let us look upon the causes for the Great Uprising of 1857. So first one is political causes. Now looking at the policy of annexation followed by Lord Dalhousie. Who is this Lord Dalhousie? Lord Dalhousie was the Governor General of India. Okay, he was Governor General of India till 1856, and under his leadership, British came up with the idea of expansionists. So they wanted to expand British Empire in India. In order to do so, in order to break some of the strong rulers, they followed doctrine of lapse, annexation of Indian states, abolition of titles and pensions. Doctrine of lapse. According to this doctrine, if the ruler of a subordinate state died without an heir, his adopted son was not allowed to occupy the throne, and the state would go under the control of Britishers. Same with the annexation of states. If the Britishers annexed the state, telling that the rulers are not able to administer their state, subordinate state actually, and this way they annexed many, especially the Awadh. And now abolition of titles and pensions. So here what happened, Nana Sahib, who was the adopted son of Bajirao II, was not allowed to ascend the throne, as well as his pension was stopped. So because of this, the Marathas raged against the Britishers. With the help of the doctrine of lapse, Lord Dalhousie was able to capture Satara, Jhansi, Nagpur, Sambhalpur, Bhagat, Jaipur, and many other small states. And this one turned out to be one of the biggest reason for the uprising of 1857. Now next one is disrespect shown to Bahadur Shah. The house of the Mughals was also humiliated when they came to know that they would be thrown out of Delhi after the death of Bahadur Shah II. His sons Mirza Jawan Bakt, Mirza Shah Abbas will not be given the throne. And the picture of misery here is that they were killed right in front of the eyes of Bahadur Shah II actually. So, and they were also asked to vacate the Red Fort, and the Muslims became very sentimental, and they fought against the Indian. The Indian fought against the Britishers. So here is the picture of Bahadur Shah II. Here Mirza Jawan Bakt and Mirza Abbas, and this one is William Hodgson. And the second picture shows Bahadur Shah II is giving up his empire to the British ruler. Next one is ill treatment of Nana Sahib and Rani of Jhansi. So after the death of the kings, the English refused to acknowledge adopted heir as the rulers, just like Doctrine of Lapse. So the Rani of Jhansi was not allowed to adopt a son as she did not have her own. And after the death of Bajirao II, Nana Sahib was also not considered as the new Peshwa of Marathas. And moreover, he was also not given any pension. Now, the annexation of Oudh. The annexation of Oudh, disbanding of the armies, and corruption, insufficient administration comes under one itself. Because of annexation of Oudh and many small states like this, what happened? They confiscated the estates of zamindars and talukdars. These are the same zamindars and talukdars who supported the Britishers when they wanted to settle in India. Now, when the Britishers wanted to expand their colonies in India, they did not even bother about the zamindars and talukdars. So this created agitations among these landlords because their lands were confiscated. And after the annexation of the state, the armies were disbanded. Because of this, unemployment took place in India, and thousands of nobles, officers, and soldiers were unemployed, and there was a huge economic crisis in India. So, because of disbanding of the armies after the annexation of the state, the soldiers remained unemployed, no livelihood, and this started to create havoc and frustration amongst the soldiers. And corruption and insufficient administration. The British administration in India was corrupt. The English had the feeling that they are very superior. They are far better than anybody else. So they started to treat Indians very badly. So in short, the policy of British and their administration created political unrest, frustration, and alarmed the rulers and the people equally. And consequently, they led to the uprising of 1857. Now, let us learn about social and religious cause. Involving in political matters is a part of subjugation of the colonies, imperialism. expanding of one's nation is called as imperialism, and interfering in others' political arena is a part of it. But social and religious interference was not accepted by the Pandits, Maulvis, priests, etc. The first cause that took place was British interference in social and cultural customs of India. The Britishers followed the forceful methods of spreading Christianity. They started to interfere in the religious beliefs and customs of Hindu and Muslims. And whoever becomes the new Christian, whoever becomes the revert, means a new, whoever accepts new religion is considered as a revert actually. A new revert was given job opportunity, rewards, promotion, etc. And not only this, they also started to give instructions in Christianity in government schools and jails. This perturbed the Britishers, disturbed and created hatred towards the Britishers. And Bible was one of the subject during these times. Now, social and religious reforms. Reforms means development for the better, changes for the better. So, the Britishers abolished the sati system. Sati system, you know that if the husband dies, the wife also has to jump into the pyre. And this system was abolished by the Britishers, and many Indians also supported this. And forbidden of child marriage, which was very common in India at the early of 18th and 19th century. So child marriage was abandoned, and infanticides and polygamy was also abolished. Infanticides means killing of the baby infants, especially girls here, baby girl. And polygamy means marrying more than one wife was also abolished. The third one is resentment among the Hindu and the Muslim priests. Here, what happened? The Britishers started to spread Western culture and education in Indian schools. They made it compulsory to teach Bible. They made sure that the Indian knows English language so that they can communicate with the locals. So they started to make changes. As soon as they made the Bible compulsory subject, the priest and Maulvi started to cry that our religion and customs are in great danger. Next one is introduction of railways and telegraphs. Railways and telegraphs were introduced in India for easy communication and transportation. But Indians thought that this development is nothing but punishment. It created suspicion and fear in the minds of Indians. How I will tell you. You see this particular piece here? It is telegraph. So it will be connected with wires to the pole actually. This is telegraph pole. The Indians thought that if they do not accept Christianity, they will hang them on this pole, or they will throw them on the track and the train will run over them. So this was one of the foolish reason. And introduction of new laws. Now the Indians have to pay taxes even to visit mosque and temples. And not only this, a convert to Christianity. If anybody convert to Christianity, they can inherit their own property. If they do not accept Christianity, their property will be confiscated by the Britishers. Now the last one, ill treatment of the Indians. The Britishers thought themselves to be very superior, as I told you earlier also. So they told that they belong to the ruling class and they're very superior. And they treated Indians, they called them like niggers, swine, heathens, and they also insulted them, kicked them. In short, there was unrest and feeling of discontent among the masses because of all these reasons. So finally, it led to the uprising of 1857. Now let us talk about the economic causes. Here it is a picture of misery where the Indians are working in the field and the Britishers are guiding and ordering them. So how come economic a cause for the revolt of 1857? First one, exploitation of Indian economy. The Britishers came to India with the intention of trade, but sooner, all trade and commerce went in the hands of the English. And whatever the changes brought in the Industrial Revolution was in favor of the Britishers and loss for the Indian industries. And it was inevitable. They had to face it because many of the rulers were supporting Britishers, many of the merchants were supporting Britishers. So only few merchants could not do this. So altogether, it led to the uprising of 1857. And soon, Indian economy became very miserable. Now, subordination of Indian economy to British interest. Now, whatever the economical changes took place in India, it was according to the British actually. So, after the Industrial Revolution, the British wanted to use India as a supplier of raw material. So, the Britishers asked the Indians to grow indigo dye, cotton, silk, which was a cash crop. They did not allow the farmers to grow food crops. So, whatever the changes they brought in economy was according to their profit. And moreover, they put heavy taxes on Indian silk and cotton. And whatever the raw material they carried to England was duty free. Means there are no taxes, no payment of the taxes. And whatever the finished goods they brought from England, if the Indian wants to buy it, then he has to pay for it. Here the farmers are growing indigo dye. These are indigo dyes. Means it is used to color, cotton fabrics and all. So later on, Japan invented artificial colors. So then production of indigo went down completely. So next one is collapse of Indian handicrafts. In the first picture, you can see the Indian artisans are working. And in the second pictures, the British people are working. So now, collapse. Now, in order to work, the artisans, if they have to work, they need raw material. But raw material was taken to England. It was exported to England. And our artisans had no raw material, no employment. So this was one of the reasons for the fall of industrial towns, especially Dhaka and Surat. And not only that, handicrafted goods were costlier and the machine made goods were cheaper. So people started to buy the machine made goods because they could afford it. Next one, discontent among the Jagirdars and Zamindars. Jagirdar is nothing but the feudal system where the king will give a piece of land to the soldier for helping him to win the wars and all. All such Jagirs were confiscated by the Britishers. Because of this, the landlords felt angry enraged at the Britishers, and they also joined the revolt of 1856.